Welcome to another episode of Primo Talks. When it comes to life, you gotta have those people around you who have those gifts and talents like you have in order for you to implement those things, so you know that the things that you're doing is moving you towards those goals, those dreams, those realities that you saw in your life. This is not the time for you to take a step back. It's a time for you to be teleported. This is a place where you can actually get the information that you need that you can implement today. Let's talk. Hey guys, I know sometimes you have that same question that I have. You know, when I first started, I didn't have the same set of skills I have today. Today's skills come from a lot of really learning. A lot of learning. It wasn't always about getting any type of tip. Let me take you back to a couple years. Now, in my life, I've learned a thing or two when it comes to understanding the mentality of me. Everybody who decides that they want to invest, you got to learn the mentality of me, which is you. You have to get past that point where you may not believe some facts that other people have been telling you through your entire life. Those facts are critical. For example, have you ever heard you don't listen?
You don't listen.
I wasn't listening. I was thinking of something else.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Tell me the whole thing again. I wasn't listening.
Oh, I used to hate that statement. Sometimes our listening faculties are completely off because we are choosing what we want to hear. But when it comes to deploying resources and capital, when you're young, you can forget a lot of things because your mind is racing. You're trying to establish the social order, people in associations. I just want you to know that's never going to stop. If you're watching this video right now and you're under the age of 15, if you're struggling now remembering details, you're going to struggle even worse when you're an adult. And the reason you're going to struggle is not because I said it, it's because you train yourself. Most of us do not recognize the pattern of permanent. That's right. The pattern of permanent means that whatever you practice on a daily basis will become permanent. It doesn't make it right or wrong, but it will become permanent. And permanent means that there are certain things that you carry from your teenage years all the way to your adult years. And once you leave your mother and father's house, your friends and family, your extended friends and family, the friends you didn't have when you were younger, that now that you're older, they actually repeat a behavior that you've never matured past. When you're taking money, which is a resource, and you applying it to skills that you have not obtained, you have to understand that there is going to be money that will never be returned to you. Most investments are not that you lost money because you went and got involved in a bad investment. It's really you lost money because you are the bad investment. And part of growing and being a person who can handle is this. I made my mind up many years ago. You know, I think everyone dips their toe. In the early 90s, I had my toe dipped in it, right? Especially up right into in the early 90s all the way through the dot-com area. I invested like most of you might be investing now as a retail trader. But also I had started a company. Most of you right now, might have found out, someone told you, accountant, a lawyer, or a friend to start an LLC. And you probably hear it. Oh, it's the easiest thing to start. It's the most horrible investment if you're going to become wealthy though. And you'll say, well, what do you mean? Well, an LLC at first glance for a startup is the assertion is that you're not going to make over $100,000 a year. You're just not going to make it. That is what everybody believes. But what happens if you make $1 million your first year? You're in the wrong legal entity. These were all the things I had to learn. Unfortunately, I didn't learn this from my father or my uncles. I learned it because I was around other people's fathers whose sons reject their teachings, and I was a son who did not have a teacher who was not willing to object to any information that they were going to provide to me. So you might as well call me a father who would look for a son that would turn into a person who will reject a free lesson. Because that's what I would look for. I would look for a father who had a son who would reject free lessons. And I would get every lesson I could. I knew something was different in the way I was built. I always knew I had something to contribute, and I know I was needed. Most people do things out of virtue signaling. I did it because I wanted to gain a skill. Other people do it because they made a statement. I did it because I was not making them. So I wasn't doing it because I was being prideful, guys. Majority of the decisions that came about in my life is because I needed a skill, so I took a job in that area to gain a skill. That's not an easy thing to do, especially if you have a background in science and math, and you take a job. Because today you'll hear people when you're having a conversation, that's beneath me. What I will say is, nothing's beneath me if I can learn. See, I don't want to be smart. That's not the reason. If you're going to college right now, you're not going to college because you're smart. You're going to college because you think it's going to provide an opportunity for you, that you can learn so that you can improve on skills you already have. The word education or educare comes from the Latin word to draw out of. So if you're educated, you didn't get it because you was in school. It's because you learned how to draw out of you based on the environments you expose yourself to.